Jikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javanokelo, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Thank you so much for joining us for the African Father in America podcast. This is episode 294. We are so close to 300, and I have a really special guest here that is going to join us in just a second. My name is Simon Okelo, and I am the host of the African Father in America podcast, and we are broadcasting this from Seattle. We do this Monday to Friday, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'm here really with someone I have so much love and respect for. We are here with Queen Smith, who is an amazing, incredible leader. Queen is now the VP at Citibank. I can't remember exactly which part of Citibank. Agile coach at Citibank. You'll have to talk about that for a moment for me to even have a deeper understanding. But the work you've done in the community, the work you did to support me with Africa Day in 2021 was incredible. And you are a leader, you're a community leader in so many different ways. So I can't wait for us to go deeper into that. But go ahead and say hello to everyone.
Hi, everyone. It's a complete honor to be here today. Thank you, Simon. And I count this the utmost honor because I totally respect you and I think you're a leader in the community. So thank you for this opportunity.
Of course. Thank you again for everything that you do. For those who are joining us for the first time, we are going to talk about an amazing proverb. And our proverb today is from Ghana. So if you know someone from Ghana, or if you're from Ghana, this is a conversation that you need to pay attention to. And the proverb itself says that even the lion, the king of the forest, protects itself from flies. Even the lion, the king of the forest, protects itself from flies. We are going to talk about three nuggets that this proverb, is trying to tell us. We are going to talk about three things. I see that people are joining us on Clubhouse. Thank you, Steve, for joining us. And also feel free to ping other people to join us for today's conversation. So my team and I prepared three nuggets that I want to share quickly before bringing Queen, so that Queen can also share her own perspectives in regards to what this proverb really means. The first nugget of wisdom that we prepared here for you says that don't be too arrogant or prideful, because you can always be taken down a notch. Don't be too arrogant or prideful, because you can always be taken down a notch. Number two, stay humble and stay focused on what's important. And then number three, be aware of your surroundings and who you are around, because not everyone has your heart, or not everyone has your best interest at heart. Not everyone has your best interest at heart. So whenever you are anywhere, just, heighten your sense of awareness. So those are the three nuggets of wisdom that were inspired by this Ghanaian proverb. The proverb itself says that even the lion, the king of the forest, protects itself from against flies. So I want to invite Queen to also speak on this proverb a little bit before we continue on with our conversation. Queen, I would love to give you the microphone so that you just share with us, when you received this proverb, what is it that came to your mind?
Wow, such a good proverb from Ghana. This is the first time I'm actually hearing this one. Even the lion, the king of the jungle, protects itself from flies. I think of maybe from the perspective of the fly. I mean, they affect humans, all kinds of things, and even lions, they're not afraid of it. I think the wisdom of this proverb is saying there are some things in life that we're not immune to just because of our status, right? Just because you're king, queen, leader, there are just some things that don't recognize your status, and you need to find ways to protect yourself and not think you're immune to it. And so that's what it really speaks out to me, because there are things in this world that affect the rich, the poor, affects kings and regular people every day. So in a sense, your status does not immune you from certain things, and you need to make preparations and not think that just because you're here and this and that, that some things will not affect you. So yeah, you have to have that wisdom to be able to self-guard yourself from certain things.
I agree 100%. I agree. And as you are speaking, I was just reminded of climate change. Some people think that it won't affect them, and then when it floods is when they realize that, oh, climate change is so close to home that I should have been doing something about it.
Yes.
Right. Anyway, we are being joined here by amazing friends and family on Clubhouse and also on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to the channel on YouTube, this is a good time for you to do that. And also, if you're on Clubhouse, if you haven't followed me or followed the African Father in America Club, this is a good time for you to do that. But most importantly, if you're listening to our conversation and you have something that you'd like to also contribute, join us on Clubhouse on the stage, and also share in the comments on YouTube. Let us know what is it that this proverb means to you, or what is it in this conversation that is moving you to an extent that you want to say something. This is an open seat. We will talk about open seat in just a moment, which is something incredible that Queen also founded. I'm just so proud of the work that you do. I ask this next question to all the guests that I host here in the African Father in America podcast, because I know that everybody, similar to how you always say that everyone has a story, I know that everyone came from somewhere, so
yes,
since all of us came from somewhere, we all have a journey of events that led us to where we are today. We all have events that continue motivating us. Even when we wake up, we reflect to that moment and we say, if I could do this at that time, why can't I deal with this challenge now? For me, when I was 8, my mother gave me a bicycle and I became a distributor of milk and bread in our neighborhood, and I would wake up so early, 2 a.m. most of the time, 4 a.m. And so having a show that starts at 6 a.m. is no problem, because I grew up, with a hardworking mother who was not only mobilizing the community to transform our community, but also creating business people, creating entrepreneurs, and putting money in the hands of young people, instead of training young people how to be thieves and pickpockets, which a lot of other women did in our community. We grew up in the ghetto, But I know, Queen, you also have your own story of what drives you.
of course.
And I also know that you are an incredible storyteller. So take your time and share with us, what is it that happened when you were younger that really drives who you are today?
Yes. Okay. I believe it's when I was around 9 or 10. I grew up in a polygamous home in West Africa, Cameroon. My father had multiple wives, 18 plus children. I have to say plus because I don't think I've met all of them yet, and I want to make sure that they're honored. One of the things that my siblings and I, especially the women, my sisters, used to do is wake up every other day and go to the well and get water, like in the hot sun, barefoot. And it was such an experience. We would go and get our water for the day, and then we would come back. Even though my father was wealthy, he still treated the way he raised us was so that we didn't become proud or felt entitled. So we still had to go get our water and things like that. So we'll always come back from the well. And every time we come back from the well, my sisters would go and play, you know, And I would sit at the top, we call it the veranda, when I was in Cameroon, of our compound. And my dad would be downstairs playing this instrument. I think I was 9 or 10. So I don't quite remember if this was the name. It was called njang. We called it njang. It was like woods. And then it was held by banana stalks or something like that. It's really cool. But in my culture, only men were allowed to play it. My father was such a charismatic guy that he would have parties all the time. So every day or every other day when my sisters and I would go to the well and come back, they would go off and play and do girl stuff, like I would say. And I would just stand at the top and watch my father play that instrument. And one day he saw me watching him and he said, "Do you want to play?" And I said, I don't know, because I was a little girl. And I was like, I don't know. Can I play? He said, "No, do you want to play?" And I said, yes. So what happened is every time we would go to the well, I'll bring the water back and he would teach me how to play the instrument. So one of the parties that my father threw in our compound, everyone came and he surprised me and he was boasting amongst the men that you should watch my daughter play this instrument. Oh, she's so amazing. And everybody was so shocked because it was a guy thing to do, right? And so he calls me in the middle of this crowd of men and we sit there. He has one side of the instrument and I have the other side and we're playing it and we're totally jamming and rocking the whole party. But some of the men grew irritated because I was a little girl playing the instrument. And my father told me while we were playing together, don't listen to their voices, keep playing. Put your head down and keep playing. And but their voices grew louder. One guy in particular said, "It's not acceptable. Not only is she a girl, but she's so young." My father stopped playing and he said, "Is she your daughter?" And he said, "No." And he said, "If I want her to play, she will play." There was just something about that moment that was so validating that I felt like even things in life that they say we can't do or women can't do or you can't do it because of this, if you have that desire and that nature to want to do it, you should pick it up and do it. So don't listen to those voices, the criticism, if that's something that you really desire. And that's how I operate my life now. Even in my career, the rooms that I go into, it's like, Queen, you're curious. You have this desire to do it. And because you have this desire and you know you can do it well, you belong here. And that was when I was 9. And I try to operate life that way because there are a lot of things that I'm curious about that life says, no, you can't do it. But I just think back at that moment.
That's so incredible. I literally felt like I was there in that moment. Do you still play this instrument, Queen?
No, because we don't have it here.
Yeah, we need to get it to you. We need to get it to you. You see my nyatiti behind me.
Yes.
Yeah, we need to.
So cool.
We need to get you one of these things.
I think it would be a grounding ceremony for me if I was to have something like that in my house. Like, I think it would be awesome.
Yeah, as you are speaking I thought a lot about my own journey with nyatiti, this music instrument. A lot of the time, many people who have played it for a long time, when they saw me playing it, and not just at home, and me, I'm a Luo too. I'm a Luo, and this instrument is a Luo. It's a tribal. It's played by our tribe. But a lot of people are like, who is this guy? Why is he playing it? Why is he playing it this way? Why is he not playing it the way we are playing it? And where did he come from? So I'm just so encouraged by, people like your dad. They're the people that actually keep the culture alive by passing on the knowledge to the next generation, and by also defending women, And if young girls see that they're being defended at that age, then they learn how to defend themselves. They learn how to defend other people. But also that's exactly what you ended up doing, not just in the community, but also in your career. I want us to talk about some of the highlights of your career Of course, I want us to talk about Africa Day, because I feel that we worked together so closely to organize Africa Day last year. But also, I know that you founded Open Seat, over 6 years ago. And you're a true believer that everyone is a storyteller, and also that it's difficult to share our stories. A lot of the time, there's no love in our communities, and we feel that our story does not have space where it can safely be shared. And so I really commend you for creating a space where not just our stories, but women are given a space to share their stories. So I just loved. I was listening to another podcast in preparation for our show today, and the host asked you, why is it that you are just focusing on women when it comes to your organization, Open Seat? And your response was really great. You are like, I want to stick with my anointing. And stay focused to supporting the ladies. Let's talk from that point. Let's talk.
No, absolutely. I feel like, no matter how much I try, I can't be a man, right? And I feel like men do need support in certain areas, but I feel like as a woman, I've experienced things that women go through, and I feel like I can create that space for women to come and feel the community and safety to share their stories. Not that men are being excluded. I want to also honor them in the fact that I might not understand some of the angles that they're coming from. We've actually discussed, my husband and I, if he wants to do something for the men, because he's a man, and I'll do something for the women. I think that's the best space to be in. I do speak in different conferences that men are also part of, but like when it comes to Open Seat, it is like it's been strictly for women. But I've also thought about the different storytelling parts and how I want to branch it out in the future. Some men might be included in the interview process of Open Seat, some of the things that I want to do in the future. But when it comes to like the table gatherings and the unfiltered sessions, the wisdom sessions, I think that women are my jam.
I agree. I don't dispute that. I love what you do, and I encourage you to continue doing it. And you've done it for so long. It reminds me so much. It's an intimate space. Just based on my research, I saw Open Seat as an intimate space where you don't only get healing through the food that you eat, through the conversations that you participate in, but you are uplifted by what people say. And I want you to talk to us about why you founded Open Seat.
Yes.
And also, well, let's talk about that for a second. I want to connect it to something else.
So, moving from Africa, from Cameroon at the age of 13, I come from a huge community, and where everybody's engaged, the village really raises you. And coming to America, it's a beautiful place to live, but you can live in this country and not even know your neighbor, and or not even have connection. Or if somebody says, "How are you?" they're already down the street on the third block walking, right? And not even hearing your response. So I went through a lot of like ups and downs when I had my daughter, and she's also special needs. And or even when I go to like different events and speak, women will always come to me and talk about how lonely they feel. But the scary thing about those events was that those women came with other women, right? They didn't come to the event alone. They probably came with like 5 friends. And during our one-on-ones, it's always, oh, I feel so lonely. I don't have anybody to connect with. And I felt like connection is not necessarily about having a group of people around you, because you can have friends but not feel connected to them. So how can I create a space that people can come and not only belong, but to be seen and also loved? And stories are such a healing aspect, because when people are heard about who they truly are, it opens like a different avenue of connection. My father was an incredible storyteller, 18 plus children. There's no way that you can bond with 18 kids one on one. So he would use storytelling to teach us about where he came from or who he was as a little boy. Because growing up in Africa, you just think your parents fell from the sky, you know? They're so huge and grand. So my father would tell us stories about his childhood around the fire while we ate food. So it was just that concept of saying, this is who I am at the core of me, and then accepting that person as who they are. So that's why we created Open Seat. And we definitely wanted it to be an intimate space for people to come and to share parts of themselves that they want to share without it being controlled. You're allowed to be who you are here.
That's so incredible. That's so incredible. It reminds me of an African dinner series that I have been organizing here in Seattle for since 2016, and I didn't know the impact that this dinner series was having on people's lives until I was asked to go and marry a couple that met at this dinner series.
Wow.
Yeah, and
That's
it
so
was
cool.
I know it was, and I know you've also done ceremonies like that. In fact,
Yes.
I missed you in Seattle just by a whisker.
Yeah, that was
And
one of the girls that used to come to Open Seat too, and I officiated her wedding. Yes.
so, talk about the power of these kind of gatherings, because it's not new, considering you having grown up in a polygamist family. I grew up in a polygamist family too, and I'm sure my father had almost the same number of children as your father.
Yes.
And I definitely have so much love and respect for my father, because I don't even know how he did it. I have 3 girls now, and as you're talking of the value of storytelling, telling your children stories, I do that all the time. In fact, last night I didn't want to tell a story, and my second born daughter was telling me, why I can't sleep well if you don't tell me a story. And then I was telling her, stories come from a deep spiritual place. Sometime I don't want to tell you a story because it will not come from the right place. And then she said, okay, I understand, And so for me, for a 5-year-old to actually be able to understand and feel, is great for me. For her to just allow me to be with her. Let's just be and not
Yeah.
tell stories today. So today I owe her a few stories, not just one,
Yes.
but I'll be telling more stories today.
A couple of them.
Yeah. But let's talk about the power of these kinds of gatherings and why they're valuable here in the diaspora, because a lot of the time we neglect the need for community, especially in intimate settings, and also the result of what they can bring to the larger community. So I want you to speak to that, and then slowly segue into how did you use this kind of community building skills and gifts that you have to get to the great jobs that you have. You're now the VP at Citibank, and I think the village kind of took you there.
Yes, no, absolutely. Open Seat has been such a blessing because it's so nostalgic for me, and making me feel like I'm home away from home, and watching the women grow and receiving freedom. Maybe it's something that they have not shared in a long time, or maybe something that they didn't even know how to express, right? And having that avenue for people to say, we're making room for you. When somebody comes to Open Seat, we actually paused because of the pandemic. We paused because of that, because I didn't know how to really not do it face to face. I struggle with that because that was one of our core values, but we're about to pick it back up. But having these women come and not being pressured. We've had women that have come and said, I don't feel like sharing my story. And we've said, okay, it's fine. Would you like some food? And we fed them. They keep on coming. And then one day they come and say, I'm ready to talk now. It's just because we made space for them. We've had so many amazing stories. I've officiated weddings. I have mentored people that are getting married or having babies just from this community. We had a very, very powerful story that happened from two women from the continent. Their parents were best friends when they were 4, but they didn't know that. But they found that out at Open Seat through the stories that they were telling. One left Angola to go to Zambia because of the war that was happening, and the other girl was Zambian. And they found that at Open Seat that they were playing at 4 years old together. I don't know how that could happen. In America, thousands of miles away. And so it's just powerful things like that. And having one had lost the mother years ago, and one still has the mother in New York. And now, because she was the mom's best friend, she's now basically a mother figure. It's just amazing how when you create space for community, how people, even old friendships from 20 years ago can reconnect, or 30 years ago can reconnect. So it's been a huge blessing, and having people unpack, because the thing about storytelling is subtraction, right? It's not about adding to it, is taking pieces of you and sharing in a targeted way so that you can be known and seen. So also teaching women how they can share their stories with relevance, and how they can look at their own story and inspire themselves, because we read autobiographies and we get inspired by these people. But what about the things that you have survived, the things that you have embraced, the journey that you've been on? How about you also inspire who you've become through it all? But we don't look at it that way. We don't look at our stories and be in awe about all how far we've come, especially if we have not arrived where we want to go. We just discredit everything. So just creating that space has helped me and has helped other people.
Right, right. The way you say things is really, really why you are a leader, because maybe 8 weeks ago or more, we connected. I think it was here on Clubhouse. And you said at the end of whatever statement you're saying, you said, Simon, one day you're going to employ us, Yes. And then I was like, how can she say that? And she's a VP at Citibank. How can she say that? And she works at Deloitte. How can she say that? And she's this, amazing leader in the tech community. And I felt so motivated after that. I felt like, okay, let me keep moving, because there's something in what I'm doing that is valuable to Queen, Mm-hmm. And I feel like you have that effect on people. So I want you to just imagine that you're talking to a bunch of African girls who have a lot of admiration for what you've accomplished in terms of your career, because work and how much you make is really, really important mm-hmm. here in America and in the world. It gives you independence, it gives you freedom, it gives you an opportunity to even travel. I know you love traveling,
I love to travel.
Yeah.
I'm going to Belize in 2 weeks.
Look, so talk about that. Talk about how you actually hustled to get your first corporate job in the tech community, and how that's led to your current VP role at Citibank.
Oh, wow. It's been a journey. I got into a project management first, just like as an associate project manager, because my husband actually convinced the nonprofit to hire me. I had just received a degree in psychology, my bachelor's in psychology, but there's nothing you can do with that. I actually wanted to be a counselor. So my husband was working for this nonprofit, and he said, hey, my wife needs a job. And they said, well, we have something for her. She can come in. And so I got my job because he convinced these people. And then years after, we decided to relocate to Dallas. and Dallas, Texas, 2 hours away from where we were. But the market was super competitive as a project manager or even as a junior project manager. So I really couldn't go that path anymore. I interviewed for a company. They filled that position internally, and then they asked me if I was interested in this tech transition that they were trying to do at that time. And I said, yes, I just need a job. I need to pay my bills. And went into that, learned a lot about Agile, right? That's where I actually got introduced to Agile, which is a little bit different from project management, and decided to learn everything that I needed to know. But it's so funny because in our community, or at least how I decided to grow up, I didn't feel like money was important. I just thought, as long as you have love and life, everything is good. We don't need anything. My husband and I were doing a lot of outreach work. We wanted to be social service people. And it's a great thing. I used to say, money's not important. All you need is love. Fine. Yeah. So at that job, I learned a lot about Agile, but I did not know my value, right? I didn't know how much these people were getting paid. So one day I went on to a meetup because I was trying to learn more about my job, and I met somebody at Goldman Sachs that did the same thing that I did, but was getting paid 3 times more. And I was like, wait a minute. But I still told myself, money is not important. As long as I'm happy and fulfilled, everything is fine. Fast forward 2014, we had our daughter. And a year after she was born, she started having some major health issues. I think that's the time that I realized that, oh, money is important. You don't let money run you, but the medical bills were piling. She was seeing doctors that did not take insurance. Our conversation in our home switched from, oh, how are we going to rest today to how are we going to pay this medical bill, right? And so I realized that money is just a tool. It's not something bad. It helps you. It can help me pay my daughter's bills. It can help me provide the best life for my daughter, because even doctors said she was not going to walk. But if she was here right now, you would see her running around. She's 8 now. They told her she was not going to walk. So it was a lot of things like that. So I decided that, okay, how do I use the skills that I have and demand to be paid what I'm valued, right? I had conversations with my organization, found some mentors that did give me a couple of raises, but it was still like, no, once you accept less, people think they can always give you less, right? For some reason. So when I left that organization and went to aerospace industry, by that time, I'm not trying to be funny. I started thinking like my father. I started saying, you're worthy. You can do this. You can do anything you put your hands to. You deserve to be in this room just as much as other people deserve to be in here. So when I went to L3, I demanded what I wanted to get paid. And I had a repertoire of things that I had done at my previous companies, how I had delivered, because in the agile space we work in delivery, tech delivery. So if someone wants to deliver something or see something come to life, we help streamline that process. So I had a portfolio. Even though I wasn't getting paid what I was deserved, when I went to L3, it was, this is what I can do for you and this is what I want to get paid. But my daughter was a huge motivation for me climbing that corporate ladder. And they were like, yep, we think you're worth that. I worked there. And then I didn't even apply for Deloitte, and I did not apply for Citi at all, because I mentor a lot of women in the tech spaces, and everyone asked me, why are you not charging this women? I say, I feel like my blessing comes in another way. It might not come from their money, but it will come somewhere else. And I think that because I do that and I don't charge people, I've been able to excel in my career. Like the blessings have come in a different way. So after working at L3, Deloitte reached out to me. I never applied for them. And they were like, hey, we want to bring you on as a senior consultant. And I was like, okay. So I went to Deloitte. I worked there for 2 years as a senior consultant. Did a lot of good work with them. Even when I wanted to leave, they still tell me to today, there's something called Deloitte Boomerang. If you need to come back, there's room for you. Did great work there. Everywhere I go, I try to live an impact that they will remember me. All of my directors there are connected with me. I have somebody that just left, has gone to another company, and the first thing they did when they took over a department was call me and say, "What do you want to get paid? I want you to come work for me." And I just can't because I started City. Then I did not apply for City. City reached out to me and said, "We have this VP position for Agile coach and we think you're a good fit." And I laughed. I was like, "Oh, sure." And did the interview. I had one interview with 6 individuals, and they told me there was going to be another interview, and they called me the next week and said, "We want you." I didn't have the second interview. "We think you're the person for the job." And I gave them a high number because I was actually trying to deflate and say, "I don't think this is for me. I'm not cut out for this. It's too soon." And so I tried to like hit them with a high pay, and they were like, "Yep, we'll pay you that." And so, uh, 3 months after, I'm here, and I think it's just how I support other people. I'm not a gatekeeper. I don't stop other people. I know so many people that are trying to come into tech, and if I have the ability to help them, I usually help them for free. And I just feel like my blessings are coming in different ways, whether it's me not applying for jobs and getting approached.
So incredible, so incredible. I'm just so grateful. Our proverb today says that even the lion, the king of the forest, protects himself against flies. And the story you shared with us, how you actually had to protect yourself against the pressure of these medical bills by improving your income and protecting your daughter, is really so aligned with today's proverb,
Yeah.
And I want you to take a few notes. Let's listen to a few of our friends who have joined us for this conversation, and then you'll reflect on what they have to say. So we'll just focus on everyone who has joined us on the stage. For those who are joining for the first time, thank you so much. We are recording this as episode 294 of the African Father in America podcast, which is available across all podcasting platforms. But importantly, a couple of things. One, we are live on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed, this is a good time for you to do that. Two, the African Father in America podcast is a 5-star rated podcast on Apple, and that is because of your listenership. And many of you listen to the show on Apple long after we broadcast it, including myself. When I'm driving, I'm always listening to the shows with my daughters. So they've really become my biggest fan. And whenever we are driving, instead of music, now they ask me, "What is the proverb for today?" And instead of saying it, I just play the episode, So I thank you all for doing that. So if you have an iPhone, or if you have access to Apple Podcasts, that's a really good place to support the show. Subscribe there and rate the show while you are at it. Now, let's bring on Stephen. Stephen, where are you joining us from? And what is it about this conversation that moves you? And also, what do you think of today's proverb from Ghana? Even the lion, the king of the forest, protects himself against flies. Okay, Steve might be far away from his mic, so we'll go straight to Lavender. Lavender, how are you? And what are your perspectives on the proverb and the conversation we're having with Queen? Thank you so much.
Hi, Simon. Hi, Queen. It's amazing to hear your story, and I'm still taking that all in. My thought about today's proverb: even the lion, the king of the forest, protects himself against flies. Simon, you earlier shared a nugget that I'd like to repeat. This proverb stresses the need to take care of yourself mentally and physically and emotionally in order to truly thrive in life. I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much, Simon.
Wonderful. Thank you, Love, and I appreciate you being here. Hey, Stella. Let's see. Let's see who's next. I think it's Brother Earth. Brother Earth, how are you doing? Share with us your perspective on the proverb and also where you're joining us from today. Thank you so much.
Peace and love, family. It's Brother Earth. I'm in the North Carolina territory. And again, love the conversation. Uh, Sometimes it's amazing how much inspiration you can squeeze together in a week, Simon. Some of the interviews you pull off. And, to hear her journey from her humble beginnings and to her, having to evolve and forcing herself to evolve for her daughter. It's so much inspiration in that, and it really lit up my day. And when I look at the proverb, one way I can look at it, I could say, the small things add up. And the saying that they said for that, about the straw that broke the camel's back. And my pops used to all the time, another way, or you could look at it, it could be positive because my pops used to all the time tell a story about this friend he had. The friend was a bricklayer, and he used to take 2 bricks home with him from work every day. So after 20, 30 years of working for the, laying bricks, bringing the bricks home every day, when he finally retired or finally built his dream home, he had enough brick to brick it in for free because he took 2 home for free every day. So, the little things do add up. And like I said, it could be for the good or bad. It all just depends. And I'll park my plane right there. Peace and love, Brother Earth.
Thank you, Brother Earth. I'm just grateful for the stories you share every day. You are much like me. You always have like 2 minutes, but you leave us with something unforgettable. Hey, Stella, how are you doing? Where are you joining us from? And also, what are your perspective on the proverb or the conversation with Queen? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Simon. Hello, everyone. This is Stella. Um, I think today's proverb is speaking powerfully about mental health. Can you hear me, Simon?
It's not so clear, Stella. I don't know why. Maybe you want to uh, try. Let's try one more time.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
It's a little better. Keep going.
In attachment. I think it's a bit noisy.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but I was saying that the proverb speaks powerfully about mental health and why we need to protect our mental health, and we should make it a priority because I think today in today's world, if you don't focus on your mental health, then you risk losing it all. So that's what I'm thinking of today, and that's my reminder for today. Thank you.
Wow, that's so true. That's so true. Thank you, Stella. Yeah, I'll just keep going. Hey, Sarah, how are you? Where are you? And what are your thoughts in regards to this entire conversation? Okay, we'll come back to you later, Sarah. If you're not able to get to your microphone now, we'll go to Jermaine. Jermaine, how are you doing? And what are your thoughts in regards to the proverb? And any comments to our guest is also welcome. Thank you so much.
Hey, greetings, village. Can you hear me clearly, Simon?
So clearly. Thank you so much.
Right. It's a good breakfast conversation. I didn't enter the room at the beginning, but I think Her Majesty name is Queen. I hope I am saying it right. It's a very encouraging conversation you're having with the VP of Citibank. I hope I am correct. As I said, I didn't enter the room at the beginning, but it's a very interesting and family, oriented kind of conversation. It's not just about a woman or a lady, corporate leader, but, a philanthropist, a mentor, a coach, a mother, and a human being So those are some of the character I think you know, elevating or coming at me from the conversation. So, it's a good piece, it's uplifting to hear, that this morning. So give thanks for that and for Queen and her family and more prosperity, more success, in your personal and professional, endeavors. All right, now discussing the proverbs for the day. Even the lion, the king of the forest, protects himself against flies. I don't really know if I will be on the right path in and how I'm interpreting it, but the good thing about the proverbs that all interpretations are correct. Um, I don't know. I guess a little of everything that everyone already says about having looking at small things, and that small things do add up. Even a fly have some value. You can perplex the king. So also in Jamaica there is a proverb that say small axe, chop big tree. Even Bob Marley have a song. You think you are a small axe, we will chop you down. We will chop you down. If you're a big tree, I am a small axe. So that is my interpretation, no matter how small or insignificant a thing may be, you can make, gradual impact, or you can create even a big impact. So that is just my thought, from the Proverbs. All right. Thank you, Simon.
Thank you so much, my brother. I'm just so grateful, for your contribution. I wish everybody used their microphone the way you do, though. You sounded so clear. You sounded like you're right here with me. Queen, what do you think?
Yeah, no, that was super, super clear.
Yeah, so Queen, take a moment, reflect on everything that you heard from our wonderful friends and family that joined us. I want to quickly, before you do that, give a shout out to Taleni, my brother from Namibia who just joined us. Hayes, thank you for being here. And MK and Richmo and Mag, thank you all for being here. And also to everyone on YouTube. I see my brother Sambaza podcast has joined us. Thank you so much. Queen, go ahead and just reflect, and then remember to let us know, how can we stay connected with you? How can we support the amazing work that you do, right after you reflect on everything you heard?
Awesome. Thank you. I heard the village has spoken. The two of my sisters talked about the mental health aspect from the proverb, right? Taking care of our mental health and being vigilant and making sure that we do not ignore that piece of us. And then I think the other brother spoke about little things do add up, which is so true. It could be small things, but then they have huge impact as it piles up. Whether it's like the brick to be able to build a big house, or whether it's like a pack of flies that are now having their nest or whatever, or laying their eggs. So that's really powerful. And I love the last one that talked about little axe can take down big trees, and that is so true. And so to sum up everybody's, I feel like, with flies, they have access that maybe a cat might not have. They have the ability to fly. They can get in areas, if you think about our lives, in areas that other bigger animals don't have access to. And we need to be vigilant because of their size and their ability and their quickness. We need to be vigilant to address those things. I've actually seen videos of lions jumping in water just to get away from flies, So it's just one of those things that if you don't take care of those small things and make sure that you're catching those small things, like my brother said, they're going to become bigger things in the future. So that's my summary of everyone that spoke today. And thank you for the kind words too, as well.
I agree. I do want to just quickly give Richmo a chance to also say something. Joseph Kafunda, thank you for being here. Hey Richmo, go ahead and share your perspectives.
Hey, Simon and everybody else. Great morning from where I am in Maryland. And depending on where you are, good afternoon, good evening, and good morning. I think I walked in a bit late in the session, but just great to be in this space, listening in. Great inspiration on how we can always not forget our humble beginnings from the host today, the guest today, and just to aspire to be to be the better version of us each day. But for now, I'll just say those words and appreciate the room and the flow. Appreciate it, Simon. Thanks.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. Hey, Queen, I know that you have a great job now, but you still have open seat, you still have stuff you're doing in the community, and I want people to support the work that you do, and I want people to stay connected with you. How can we do that?
Yes, mainly on Instagram. I think I'm Queen K-Smith, and then I do have an open seat page as well as just open seat on Instagram. And I do have a website where it's Queen K Smith. That's for like my speaking engagement. Like I stated too, we had paused open seat because of COVID, and because part of our core was the face-to-face interaction, and I just couldn't let that go. So now we are about to pick back up, but it's going to be even more intimate. I'm going to do it in my backyard, just like my father used to do it in Cameroon. And this time my husband is going to be involved. And that's the aspect that I was talking about. So maybe now men can come, not just women. So it's actually going to be in our backyard. But we also want to shift from not just community, but also culture, right? So when people do come to visit us in this intimate environment in our home, in our backyard, I'm going to make Cameroonian food, and then we're going to share stories. So it's going to be like a culture and experience aspect to the storytelling that happens. So that's what I have to look forward to. And I have this deep desire that I don't share a lot. It's film. And so I want to see how I can try to film some of those sessions, those open seat backyard sessions. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I love films and I love documentaries. So I'm actually trying to take some film classes now so that I can be good at it, not just halfway. So if you're ever in the Dallas area, you want to come eat Cameroonian food in my backyard, you're welcome to. So that's one way that you can support, because I love people and I love communities and I love people from different walks of life. Would love to host you in any way. It doesn't cost money. It's all about experience and building support. As far as career-wise, I'm at City right now, but long-term, I want to do some work back in the continent. It doesn't matter where. It doesn't have to be Cameroon. And so far, I don't have like a lot of connections back home. I just feel like there's so many things that I can do in the delivery space back home, not just tech. Because at Deloitte, I work with an HR company as a people ops coach. So Agile is not only for tech. I can do that anywhere. So now I'm started an LLC, created an LLC. In the future, I would love to see how I can partner with people, my brothers and sisters back home, to just support, not to go in as an expert, but I feel like people back home already have the skills and I'm just there to support and continue to lift them up as what they're already doing. So that's one of the things that I dream about constantly. But I don't have the blueprint yet. But in everything in life, as you just heard my story, something always happens, right? And it's always unconventional. I'm not a blueprint person that it just happens. So just wanted to put that out there because you never know who's listening.
You never know. I definitely have so many reasons to, hit you up. So, expect my email, expect my Instagram DM and phone calls, Yeah. Thank you so much, Queen. And thank you to everyone who listened to the show today or watched the show today. And also remember that today Black Panther is out, Black Panther 2, so get out there in your best regalia and just enjoy the movie and stay safe. We will be back next week, Monday to Friday, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And my hope is that we continue bringing you meaningful conversations with brothers and sisters like Queen, who are doing incredible work in the world. Again, Queen, thank you again for choosing to support this show and choosing to support a lot of the initiatives that I have been spearheading. It's really, really, that's the fuel that I need, that's the fuel that I need. And I'm just so lucky that I get to learn more about you in this way. So have a nice weekend.
Thank you. It's an honor. And Simon, I really mean it when I say we're all going to work for you one day. Thank you. I've made great connections through you, and I love everything that you're doing because you're a gatherer. It's almost like a chief, right? Like a chief in a village. So thank you. It's an honor, and I don't use my words lightly. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you so much. Have a nice weekend.
You too.
Okay, take care.
African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan.